what we're really seeing is people all over the country, from Florida to California, from Texas to New York, go and eloquently get before the city councils, whether it's a small city council, whether it's a big city council, whether it's a state house having a hearing, it doesn't matter. Getting in front of these bureaucrats so they know the people are not buying into the propaganda. So a journalist for Mediaite went in on Friday, and he was in California in the Ventura County Board of Supervisors, and he points out that the local health department doctor has admitted the truth for months that masks don't protect you and that they're a fraud. But now he's saying you should wear a mask. He brings that up. Then he brings up that almost no one's died in the county, and then it was, 20, 30, 40 times less than what they said, and that it's all based on a lie. Because, again, why are there no diving boards for 30 years? Lawyers. Why are they getting rid of all the jungle gym equipment? Lawyers. Now they're saying if one person can be saved. I was watching Fox News at about 3:30 today before we went live. I was in there having a cup of coffee. Here in my old Drudge Report coffee cup. And it was Fox News had a lady on going, oh, well, sure, it's not as bad as we thought, but if one elderly person might die or if you might get somebody sick, just wear a mask or you're not good. See, this is about suspending common sense. There aren't two genders. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. Let convicted pedophiles have drag queen story time. It's about getting you to give in to fraud. Everything Fauci and the NIH and Johns Hopkins and the UN said was a lie. All of it was a fraud. They sent people with COVID-19 into nursing homes because it's a bad pneumonia for the only group they could kill, and over half the deaths nationwide are in those 10 blue states in old people at nursing homes. They should all be arrested. But instead, they keep the fraud and the hoax going and get more and more power and control because people aren't calling them on it, but it's beginning to happen, and I'm seeing explosive results out there. So this video is on Infowars.com. It's about halfway down the page now because it broke yesterday. Please get it and please share it. Journalist scorches California officials for excessive lockdowns in epic speech. Here it is.
After waiting for 2 hours and now getting 2 minutes, I'll get right to the point. This board is pretending that for the last 3 months, your emperor, Dr. Levin, has not been against a mask declaration. Now, all of a sudden, we're pretending that masks are everything, even forcing speakers to use masks. I would like the board to take a position. Was Dr. Levin wrong for those 3 months? And if he was this wrong, why has he not been removed? Why has he not been fired for being so catastrophically wrong? Or do you not really believe he was wrong? You're just wearing these masks because it is a signal of your great virtue.
Damn! Damn.
Because for the last 3 months, we have not worn them, and Ventura County has done outstandingly well and continues to do outstandingly well because we are not Los Angeles, we are not New York City, we never were going to be any of those things. Ironically, this is one of the few things Dr. Levin was actually right about. He has been wrong about everything. He is the one who told us we would have 400 to 600 hospitalizations a day. He revised that to 200 to 400 a day. We still haven't reached that in 1 day. We're barely over 200 for the entire ordeal that you guys have put us through. We now are panicked over 51 total hospitalizations in a county with 8 hospitals. Can you people do math? Can you please do basic math and understand where we are on this? This is not a crisis. You, however, have created one. You, in an effort to try to prevent all death, when we've had 43 deaths, have now ended all relevant life. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves. And this will never be forgotten, ever be forgotten. You will all be held accountable eventually, in this life or the next. You all better hope there is no hell, because when you die, that's where you're going. And guess what? You're not going to be dying of COVID either. Thank you.
Now, I know a lot of regular listeners have heard me ad nauseum in the last 6 months say this is about teaching you can't live outside your house, teaching you that your body is bad, teaching you that you need vaccines and contact tracing apps on your phone to live, so you'll be a bubble boy that grows up in a pod hooked into wires into your brain, and that the actual model is that we will soon live in pods and then give up our physical bodies. If I said that on my own, I deserve to be in a mental institution. Let's put on screen the Wall Street Journal last weekend. 8 days ago. Looking forward to the end of humanity, it says that we need to give up our bodies. Silicon Valley has a plan for us to upload in machines, and that because antibiotics don't work anymore and because of COVID-19, we need to have a huge program like the Marshall Plan meets the Manhattan Project to transcend our bodies and to give them up. How did I know all that? Elon Musk has come out and told you that's what they're into. That's what they're doing. And I know it sounds insane, but they're doing it. And the driverless cars and everything's taking over, folks. People look forward to, oh, the new Ford F-150 is driverless. Yeah, that'd be great if you could trust the computer running it that's programmed with the globalists. You can't. It is the rise of the machine.
Unnecessarily, now we have over 120 million dead from COVID.
Let's hear that one more time.
Unnecessarily, now we have over 120 million dead from COVID.
When he said that live on ABC News, they cut the feed. We were able to get the feed of it, including the live stream that we saved. But that is just incredible. No one's even called him on it other than the president and independent broadcasts like this. It's just incredible. Imagine if Trump said something like that. Okay, I want to be very calm about what I'm about to cover. It deals with COVID-19. I want to be very, very specific. Because when I'm out on the streets, when I talk to family, they have this question a lot, and I try to explain it to them because it's very, very clear. But I understand people want to think of things as black or white, but this is a little more complex than that. COVID-19 really got my attention back in January of this year because when I called the head lawyer and scientist and researcher, scientific expert, who had written the U.S. Biological Weapons Treaty that became the UN World Treaty, he said, no, I've talked to sources. This is a man-made virus out of the Wuhan lab. It's a bioweapon. A few weeks later, it came out in the major Indian scientific universities that have CRISPR gene editing, who could scan it with electron microscopes, that it was 100% man-made, had P shuttle gene injection points where the HIV delivery system had been welded on, as well as a bunch of other viruses onto a cold virus, the most common virus, the coronavirus. And he pointed out a 2015 article about lab-made coronavirus triggers debate. Obama and Fauci was over it, allowed the transfer of weaponized coronavirus to communist China because the research here was illegal, was exposed, so they shipped it to China. Now, that was 6 months ago. So I was concerned up front when no one was talking about it in January here in the U.S. Listeners are like, why are you obsessing over this virus? I saw Bill and Melinda Gates involved in the Event 201, John Hopkins UN drill, where they talked about 65 million dead, but it brings in world government. The Rockefeller Foundation report, lockstep from 9 years before that, detailing the plan. And I could see the pre-programming, and I said, look, I don't know how deadly this virus is going to be, but this Indian university is the top university in India. They're obviously big mathematicians and scientists, some of the best. And then the Australian government, U.S. firms, German firms, Dutch firms, the discoverer of HIV, top guy, came out 4 months ago and said, no, it's man-made. You can just type in discoverer of HIV says COVID-19 made in the lab. So the paradox was, okay, they're going to hoax it and hype it to shut things down. It's not that deadly. But then why is it man-made, Alex? I just go where the facts are. That if you really look at the numbers of the models they were showing of 3 to 6% dead, we drilled into those and it was less than 1%. That's now confirmed that it's 0.6, according to the CDC's latest numbers. So I just talked to mathematicians and scientists and experts. You've heard them all here. I mean, we're talking virologists, you name it, top people, heads of universities. So there is the riddle, though, and the enigma, and the whodunit. Because you can now type in and pull up AP and Reuters and Newsweek, Fauci-funded coronavirus bat research at Wuhan starting in 2013 under Obama. You can pull that up, Newsweek, Fauci-funded Wuhan. And it was specifically this. And then Bill and Melinda Gates. And then they have drills of just this happening a few months before it unfolds. Mama didn't raise a fool, but even a fool can figure this out. There it is, Dr. Fauci back funding for controversial Wuhan lab studying origins of coronavirus. So it now turns out the Australian government financed 6 universities independently this year to scan the virus. And they all said it is conclusively man-made, a chimera, meaning it's multiple virus families. Let me explain, folks. If you're a dog or you're a cat or you're a cow or you're a sheep, you know, it's the same family. Well, viruses are the same. Now, a tiger and a lion are so close, they can interbreed. Their offspring is sterile, a liger. Just like a horse and a donkey can breed, they have a mule that's sterile. Never been a mule that can have babies. The genetics are close enough that they can have a baby, but it can't have babies. It's a mutant. When they look at the coronavirus, it is made up of at least 5 virus families that aren't even related. That's why I got scared in January and February and March and said, I don't know how deadly it's going to be. Looks like the Chinese are staging these lockdowns and welding people in and shooting women at checkpoints. But regardless, Gates is already and up to speed and running this, and Fauci's involved with the Wuhan lab, and all these prestigious scientists that have credibility are publishing the same scan. They scan it, and the discoverer of HIV said it is 100% lab-made. It's like if you saw a Ford hooked up to a Lamborghini. If you chop the front of a Ford off, put a Lamborghini on the back, you'd go, that's a Lamborghini, that's a Ford. I mean, this thing is Frankenstein. So now I get to the big enchilada. I studied it. I looked at it. And about 4 months ago, I figured it out. Wargaming the enemy and how they operate. They love binary weapons. We're at the big enchilada in a moment. What is a binary weapon? Well, you give somebody the precursor that they've got to have as the base, then you hit them with the second part, and that kills you. And they've got systems that are even 3-4 things it takes to go together. But everybody knows about binary weapons, even in, you know, Marvel Comics or whatever. Joker likes to put one poison in this and one poison in that. That way he's immune from it. He hadn't taken the first poison. So even though he releases a nerve gas, he's already putting your milk or your apple juice, the first poison. So when everybody's getting gassed, it doesn't hurt him because he didn't drink the apple juice. That's a binary weapon. Now, let me give you the big daddy now. And I looked at this in other studies. This is what the Indians found. It's what the Italians found. It's what the French found. It's what the Australians found. It's what the United States scientists found. It's what the Canadian scientists found. I mean, this is in triplicate, completely confirmed. Remember, Zero Hedge got banned for running stories about it, and they had to bring them back to Twitter because it completely confirmed that it was man-made. You're like, well, wait a minute. Why are you panicking then over a virus you say doesn't really kill a lot of people and is just a bad pneumonia, but then now you're saying it's this bioweapon? I'm going to explain it. If it's patented, you could never patent a flu virus or a cold virus because they're always mutating. But if you create a new chimera that's a new species of viruses, by splicing them together, you own this whole new world. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, through John Hopkins, through the UN, who have the patents on record for dozens of coronaviruses from bats that can jump to humans from that lab. It was on Italian TV 4 years ago, them bragging how they're doing it. They didn't even hide this stuff because, again, they have to have all the members of it thinking they've done nothing wrong. When you're involved in a criminal conspiracy like this, you hide it in plain view. So when we come back, folks, I'm going to hit the most horrifying information ever. Pictured. This is the Daily Mail. How COVID-19 hijacks human cells and causes them to sprout tentacles. Now let's put the electron microscope photo up for TV viewers of the tentacles, please. Now, why is this so important? Because the cold virus family, corona, never has caused cells to grow these tentacles. 2 viral families do it, and it's the viruses spliced onto it. So imagine, it's now confirmed that it's spliced, it's made. And why are these tentacles important? because it keeps the cell alive and the cell doesn't completely die. It lays dormant, releases tentacles to keep getting you sick over and over again, and the cells don't die, and then the cell finally implodes and starts creating cancer. But here's the problem. None of us are going to escape this, folks. I'll explain this when we come back. Its main weapon function is that it's airborne, gain of function, and that it implants in your cells. I'm going to give you the bad news when we come back. I think you're going to really want to tune in for this.